Well, today's a very special day because something that the viewers are very familiar with is that Israel was really, the citizens of this country were faced with very serious danger from not any missionaries, but missionaries who secured a cable channel on Hot TV. And their intent was to convert all the Jews here in Israel to Christianity. And in fact, its CEO and President Ward Simpson made it very clear that we've raised the money for this, we've secured a 7-year lease, and we intend on converting 9 million Jews to Christianity. That's everybody.
We've signed a 7-year contract. Friends, there are 9 million people in Israel that need to hear the gospel of Jesus.
It's men, women, children, the elderly, and of course, evangelizing children in Israel is completely illegal. Now, that doesn't prevent missionaries from going to schoolyards and so on where children play and hand them out.
They actually lied to the council about it, right? I mean, totally denied that was their goal. And even though they've got them caught on video saying exactly their intent.
This is a very interesting thing. I'm deeply grateful to Usher Beton. He's the chairman of the Cable and Satellite Broadcasting Council. As Hendel. I'm really grateful to these people for making this happen because they were shut down. When God TV applied for permission to broadcast, they actually received their license from Hot TV, which sells them, and then it's up to the council to approve a show or not approve a show. They presented it as if they're not here to convert Jews. This whole thing is such a game of dealing from the bottom of the deck. We're here this is an educational broadcast for other Christians. I'm not kidding, for other Christians. But God saved us in the form of a Ward Simpson in a sense that he was completely unfiltered.
Never before in the history of the world, friends, has the gospel ever been preached in Hebrew on cable television.
The moment that Hot TV gave them the license, and they secured a 7-year lease. And then he went on to raise more money for this operation, and he laid it out in a very clear way that they intend to convert all the Jews in Israel to Christianity. And he didn't use the dog whistle that's normally employed by missionaries, where they blur the distinctions between Judaism and Christianity. They play games with semantics in order to lure Jews who would otherwise resist a straightforward Christian message. So, they won't say, convert to Christianity. They'll say, become a Messianic Jew. The huge mistake that Ward Simpson made was saying, we're going after everybody. Now, in Israel, there's a law that you can't evangelize minors, as I mentioned. So this is completely against the law. And the idea was to have they call it Shalanu, which means ours. So that was the God TV station here in Israel on channel 182. The idea was to penetrate 700,000 homes here in Israel and convert children to Christianity as well as their parents and the elderly. So Ward Simpson and others just didn't use a dog whistle. They were completely unfiltered, and they explained it straight the way it is. And I am just so grateful. I'm especially grateful to Usher Beton, very grateful that these people saw it for what it was. They called it out for what it was, because this was completely deceptive. Because they said, we're applying in Israel for a license to broadcast just Christian content for a Christian audience. Well,
now they can't refile now, right?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But they have to be honest this time. Now they've been sent home and told, look, you have no permission to broadcast here in Israel. Now, if you want to come back and apply again for the permission from the council, go right ahead. But you got to do it honestly this time. You got to say that we want to convert all the Jews to Christianity and see if you get an approval. So it's very lucky we had the videotape. It's interesting. We're living in a time where it's important to have the videotape on so many levels here in Israel and in the United States. But if they would apply and say, we want to convert all 9 million Jews to Christianity, or have every Jew in Israel believe in Yeshua, the Messiah, so of course their application is going to be rejected. So no, they were told you couldn't welcome to reapply again, but this time no lying. This time we're not going to play the game hide the ball. This time you're not going to deal from the bottom of the deck. This time there's no game. So I'm just very grateful to the people who made this call, made the right call. I confess there was so much work going on behind the scenes, but I confess that there were times where I just wasn't sure. There were, even though it was unimaginable, I mean, this would have been a nightmare for the Jewish people. I want to just say this. There are families here in the Holy Land, throughout the land of Israel, that are going to put their kids to sleep tonight and know that they're safe. There are families throughout this country today who know that their children are now safe from God TV, safe from this, and that's a wonderful thing. And again, there were times I wondered what's going on, because this is not my normal thing. And it's not me. There's quite a number of people worked on this. But it happened. The right thing happened. The Israeli officials, authorities really made it should have been a softball, but they made a wonderful decision on this. And Jewish families are safe today. They were not yesterday. And today we can say, okay,
that's awesome.
We're going to be all right. We're going to be safe.
Right. I don't even see how it would be possible for them to, if they do refile, knowing that they already came in and totally lied about it the first time, why they would even consider letting them again. And maybe that is the case, but that doesn't mean they can't try, I guess. Right?
Sure. But, again, it's the same deal. It's all a scam, meaning that it's all about using the right words and terminology. I mean, semantically, there's no difference between the Messianic movement. It's just one of thousands of iterations of Protestant Christianity. They're just using different words to say the same thing. They're using a different dictionary. So the whole movement, the whole effort to evangelize Jews is completely fatuous, because they're playing a word game in order to seduce people into believing that, oh no, this is the most Jewish thing you can do. They won't say convert to Christianity, but there's no difference. There's no ontological difference between them. So, wow, what a relief today. What a relief here in Israel. There are so many thousands of people that have expressed their relief that Israeli officials made a fabulous call here and called them out for what they're doing. They want to convert everybody, kids included. Kids, meaning below 18, which would be illegal. More than 30% of Israeli citizens are under 18 years old.
That's insane. So, I can't help but to think now about how they're feeling, because I remember watching one of the videos that they had, and they were so excited about, and I believe they actually worded it like, I can't believe God has presented us with this wonderful opportunity. God gave this to us, and now it's gone.
I want to say what God gave to us, as long as you bring up what God gave to us. I want to say that these guys, Ward Simpson is not the only one. There's a whole bunch of them. Ward Simpson has done more to alert the Jewish people about the dangers of Christian missionaries than I have done in 40 years. This one man putting out an unfiltered video on what God TV intends to do here in Israel using Shalanu, the Shalanu channel, Hot TV. He accomplished more in 15 minutes to alert the Jewish community and communities worldwide than I've done all in my entire adult lifetime. So that's right. And that's what happens very frequently, is it requires a crisis from someone who wants to destroy not the physical Jewish people, but the spiritual Jewish people, who wants to destroy Judaism, and required him to rise up, as many have rose up in the past, to destroy Judaism. And as a result, he has alerted the Jewish world that there is a grave danger posed by evangelical missionaries. I should add in another thing as well, and that is that, I think that we're taking this more seriously, and it's important for Jewish people to understand their own scripture. It's important also for Jewish communities in Israel to be aware of this. Let me just say this straight, unfiltered. Evangelical Christians are deeply ensconced in Israeli society in some of the highest places. They really are very, very well connected. And this is a very grave danger, very grave danger. And this whole episode, this very serious crisis, has alerted Jewish communities throughout Eretz Yisrael, Midon Vad Beersheva, has alerted Jewish communities that not all evangelicals, many of them are good people who would never engage in this kind of grotesque behavior, but alerted Jewish communities throughout the country that these people, these evangelicals, these guys, these unyielding, overzealous missionaries will do anything to convert you, your sons and daughters, and your grandchildren. So the alarm is there, and Hashem has watched over us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Baruch Hashem.
Hi, this is Tim from Morial TV and Morial Radio. Jacob, we had a question from a believer on how do you witness to a Jewish person? What's the best way to get the gospel to them?
The first thing you have to understand is their presuppositions. Most Jews think that to some degree, most Christians are anti-Semitic, or at least Christianity is anti-Jewish. It's important that Jews see the difference between philo-Semitic Christians and anti-Semitic Christians. One of the ways to get an open door to share Jesus with the Jewish person is to convey to them your belief that the rebirth of the modern state of Israel fulfills prophecy and that Jesus said it would happen in Luke 21:24 and so forth. You can use prophecy to reach Jewish people in such a way as you're showing them that you're pro-Jewish, but then you can take that and say, now look at this in Zechariah chapter 12. They'll look upon me who they have pierced. The Jews have to go back to Jerusalem, and the nations are going to come against them, but the Messiah is going to come. Now, even one of your rabbis, Rashi, said this is the Messiah, the one who was pierced. Well, that is one very good way to do it. It's very important that you let Jews see the difference between true believers who love Israel and the Jews and the false church that doesn't. Although there are people who profess to be born again who are anti-Zionist, those people are in doctrinal error. And very often, their doctrinal errors are very serious. I've never known somebody who subscribes to the error of replacement theology who's not into significant doctrinal error elsewhere, such as the late false teacher John Stott, who taught much error. John Stott, although he was a believer, was anti-Israel. Yet John Stott taught people we can't tell unsaved people they're going to hell because there is no such place. He was an annihilationist. He was a man who taught error. If they're wrong about Israel, I guarantee they're wrong about other things. We have to show the difference between Christians who understand the purposes of God for Israel. Convey to the Jews that, look, Jesus was Jewish. We love you because God used you to give us the scriptures and to give us our Savior, our Messiah. And we believe that the rebirth of your land and your ancestral homeland is something that Jesus said was going to happen, just as the Hebrew prophets did. That is a door in. Secondly, learn how to witness from the Old Testament. Isaiah 52 and 53, Daniel chapter 9. The Messiah had to come and die before the second temple would be destroyed. There is much material on how to witness to Jews. On the Moriel website, you will find questions for our Jewish friends. If you familiarize yourself with those questions, that will give you a practical armory of munitions in taking on the deception that Satan has perpetrated against the Jewish people to believe that Jesus is not their Messiah. A very practical set of guidelines is found in that teaching. Questions for our Jewish friends on the Moriel website. Other Jewish ministries such as Chosen People, etc., also have a wealth of free material available on the internet for witnessing to Jewish people. You can also, if they're willing to do it, introduce them to Jews who believe, if you have a believing Jewish friend. Now, some Jewish people will not do that. They can accept the gospel from a believing non-Jew easier than they can from a believing Jew. It depends on the individual. But those are the essential ingredients of Jewish evangelism.